Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat from Nashville, Tennessee, economic analyst, hedge fund manager, and contributor to Forbes and other publications, Thomas Landstreet. Tom, you know, we kind of have to look at this economic calamity that we're living through real time right now, and it is an economic calamity from a public sector perspective and a private sector perspective. And if we start with the private sector, are you talking just for the restaurant industry alone, $25 billion hole? They're not going to be able to make that up. And now, if they start defaulting, and that's what it is, defaulting on rents, you know, people who the people who have these leases, the landlords, they have bills to pay also. This is a chain reaction that I don't even know if government understands.
Well, look, you're absolutely right. It's devastating to the people that work in those lower wage jobs. They're the ones that would benefit the most from Trump's tax cuts. By the way, we've been over that, so it's terrible to see what's happened. But I will say, look, I'm not the fan of giant bailouts and bad behavior, and I feel like people should probably take responsibility for their own affairs and save money and squirrel money away, be ready for bad times, which they never are.
Right.
But that being said, what they're doing as far as this bailout, Graham, is impressive. They have literally thought of everything. They have gone after every corner of the debt markets. And I'm hearing that smaller banks are forgiving leases, forgiving loans, or at least the servicing of those loans for 60 to 90 days. Just because I was preparing for this, I talked to 3 good smaller banks, and they're all doing that. So there's a lot of forgiveness going on in the supply chain for credit, Graham, and I'm not sure you're going to see the kind of default rates that we're talking about on, for instance, on rent payments and so forth.
And so these banks, they're being American, basically, right? But they're also banking on the fact that this is not going to last forever. But if we shift now the argument to the public sector side, and this, wonderful bailout that you're talking about, $2 trillion, and then the Fed's pumping trillions of dollars into the system, and then we're going to have all these loans of, around $1 trillion. Where is that money coming from? I know where it's coming from, Thomas. Thin air. It's being printed, and it's going to end up in the national debt. By the time this year is over with, we're going to be staring at $25, $26 trillion, at least, in the debt.
That's correct. It's being printed. The Fed's providing it. We'll also be deficit spending significantly. Our annual budget deficit, which was about $1 trillion heading higher, is now going to probably be about 3 by this time next year. And of course, the Fed's balance sheet was just $4 trillion, by the way, up 400%, from before the '08 crisis. It's going to be probably $10 trillion. So, and by the way, they've thrown a lot of pork into this. You may know there was $10 billion allocated for the American Indians or for the Native American community, and $52 million for Lincoln Center. They do this all the time. And it's terrible. And Arthur Laffer, my old boss, had a great idea, I think, and that's why give the government the power to choose winners and losers? Why not do a payroll tax cut or a holiday where maybe the employer and the employee both get a break from, say, Social Security taxes? They would get a 7% raise, and the employer would get a discount on that labor, and it would be incentivized to hang on to their employees longer without having to give all that money and power to the government to misallocate it. That's the tragedy here. Government will end up more powerful than ever, and we will end up weaker ultimately.
It's common sense. And you learn from the best, by the way, Thomas, and Art Laffer. He is among the most brilliant minds, I think, and common sense in this country. Thomas, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.